Welcome to this HTML and CSS tutorial. Today we're going to be looking at using CSS, or cascading style sheets. This is a new language. Up until now we've been using the language HTML to create the content of a web page. But with the CSS language, we can start to give our web page a little bit of style. Let's quickly review what we have so far. I've got 3 pages, page A, page B, and page C. Each of these pages is essentially the same. It has HTML tags, it has head tags, and it has body tags. In between the body, we've got a H1 heading, which is the page's main heading. Then we've got an unordered list, i.e. bullet points, with 3 list items inside them. And each of these bullet points, or each of these list items, have got a hyperlink to each of the pages, page A, page B, and page C, within our website. Underneath those lists, I've put a subheading using H2 tags, and I've put 3 paragraphs of dummy text. 1, 2, 3. Now this dummy text is called lorem ipsum, and designers use this text to, add placeholder text when they're not actually sure what the text of a web page is going to be, but they want to see what it looks like with text in there. So it's a made-up language, it doesn't mean anything, and we just use it to help us assess what a page will look like. Now let's quickly preview this site as it is now in a browser. So we've got our H1 heading here, our 3 links in a bullet pointed list. We've got our H2 heading and 3 paragraphs of dummy text. Now that is page A. Let's look at page B. Pretty much the same. And page C. Pretty much the same. The only difference is really being the headings. So this is great. We've got a web page that it looks like a web page kind of. It's got hyperlinks, and those links work. So what we really need to do now is start to make this page look nice. So we're going to use a language called CSS to do that. The first thing we need to do, if we're using the language CSS, is to create a new file, and this is going to be our style file. So I'm going to go File, New, to create a new file. And the first thing I need to do is save that as a CSS file. So I'll go File, Save As. Now this is the root folder of my website. You see I've got page A, page B, and page C there. Generally with CSS, we store that within a folder that's within our main folder. So I'm going to create a new folder and give it the name CSS. And inside that folder, inside that CSS folder, I'm going to save this file as style. And I nearly always call my CSS files style. Style.css, and hit save. So this is my basic CSS style file now, and I can start to add bits of style in there. Essentially the way that style works, or the way that CSS works, is it looks at the tags that are in HTML and it applies style to those tags. So we've got some H1 tags here on our pages, so we could use CSS to style whatever was inside H1 tags. Let's do that. Let's quickly look at what the page C heading looks like at the moment. Plain, black. Let's add some CSS to that page C heading now. So I'll go back to my style file, and remember the element or the tag that I wanted to apply styling to was H1. So I just type in H1, not in the angle brackets, but just by itself. Then I'll do a space. Then I'll do some of these curly brackets, and these are located next to the letter P on most keyboards. You can see they're not the round ones, and they're not the angle ones, and they're not the square ones, but they're like this funny shaped curly bracket. I'll zoom right in here so you can see what those look like. Cool. So the first element of style I'm going to apply is I'm going to change the text color. And the way that I do that is I type out the word color using American spelling, C-O-L-O-R. I add a colon, which is the two dots on top of each other, type a space, and then I'm going to type the word red. And this says now, for the H1 tag, change the text color to red. And I'm going to save that. Now if I go and preview page C now, you might think that the H1 heading here should be red, but actually it's not. And there's a reason that it's not red yet, and that's because we have not yet linked up our HTML file and our style file. They both exist, but there's no link between them, so we need to create a link to say to this HTML file here, this page C, hey, go and look at the style file and see which elements you need to change. So let's go back to our page C.html file. Now inside the head, so after the starting head tag, but before the closing head tag, I'm going to type out this new command, or this new tag, and it's a little bit complex, so you have to follow along carefully. The first thing I'm going to type is angle bracket link. Then I'm going to do a space, and I'm going to type type equals quotes quotes, and inside those quotes I'm going to say text text /CSS, and this tells the browser that this link is a CSS link. Now after my closing quotes, I'm going to do another space and type in REL, that's short for relationship, equals quotes quotes, and inside those quotes I'm going to type the word style sheet, all one word. And then I'm going to type space href, which you'll remember stands for hyperlink reference, equals quotes quotes, and this tells us where to find the style sheet. So let's just quickly have a look at where what should be inside these two quotes. So if we go back to our folder, I'm currently on page C, which is here, and to get to that style file I need to go inside the CSS folder and look for something called style.css. So that's inside the CSS folder, and then look for a file called style.css. So we type that out, CSS, that's the CSS folder, /style.css. Go inside the CSS folder and look for a file called style.css. Then we can close our tag off, and I use a backslash angle bracket. Technically that's more correct, but it will work if you don't use the backslash and you just use the angle bracket. So now we've created a link between our page C and our style file. I'm just going to save that page C, and I will run it to preview it in Firefox, and hopefully now our H1 should be red. And it is. So I know that now my CSS is connected to my page C. Of course it's not yet connected to page A or B, but I can fix that quickly simply by copying this line of code, this link code that we've just created, and then going to my page B, scrolling to the top, and adding this line of code inside of my head. Save it, do the same for page A. So inside my head tags, after the title, I'm going to paste that link. Cool. So let's run and preview this now in Firefox. And you'll see my H1 for my page A is now red, page B, and page C.